soul is a mystery for humankind. Everyone has heard of it at least once, even though by different names. Some people believe in it, while others deny its existence. Some people worship it, while others despise it. Some people hear its whispers, while others blind of its influences. Regardless of what humans' perceptions on souls, there are always benefits for humans by understanding the true nature of souls. As presented in the series Life and Death, there are two main points which should be understood about souls. 1. Souls are 6 layers of humans' existence: Fitrah, or the Holy Spirit, heart, Nafsu, feelings, minds, and thoughts, which no longer have its physical body, outer physique. 2. Choices taken by humans during their lives and also their death influence the quality of souls they possess. Now, let us go back to the past. After learning that humans' death brought about different creatures, each of the Muhammads, with their own methods, designed segregations between the dead and the living. Since they wanted to concentrate researching humans, they picked among their children the noblest of characters as the managers. These chosen children were granted strength and power to make sure every dead soul always went to a separate dimension from the living, both by persuasions and coercions. At the beginning, this method actually went on quite effectively. Adam, Ifrit, Khidr, and Eve could fully concentrate on their efforts in finding out the true nature of humankind. Unfortunately, after some time, new problems occurred. The children of Muhammads involved in the management of life and death had a monumental powers compared to regular humans. They were capable of copying the abilities of Muhammads in smaller scales. However, their capacity in understanding the cosmos was nothing compared to Ifrit, Khidr, Adam, and Eve. They could not understand the line of thinking possessed by their parents in how they control everything in the cosmos, including most rules regarding dead souls and living humans. Similar to regular humans, within them there were Nafsu, the possessiveness, the self-righteousness, and also praise hunger. Therefore, without their notice, they used the privileges that truthfully only Allah capable to hold, the prerogatives of the Almighty. Thus, the chosen children of Muhammads who were involved in the management of life and death divided into 2 factions. 1. Those who chose to betray their parents and build their own communities or even civilizations, consisted of both dead souls and living humans with their own law. 2. Those who chose to stay loyal continue to administer the responsibility given by Muhammads, who were their paragon and leader, either it was Ifrit, Khidr, Adam, or Eve, as well as they could. In many cultures, developed or adapted by humankind, there were many names for these betrayers of Muhammads. Aside from difference in languages and eras, the multiple names also manifested due to differences in context of which human communities were introduced. Some communities, since its inception, recognized them simply as the rulers of life and death, of everything they knew. Some communities knew them as hated figures or the main adversaries they must resist at all costs. Some also remembered them as heroes they must elevate because of their services in protecting their community in the past. But who were they, really? At the very beginning, they were simply regular humans who had died so that they no longer had physical bodies. Because of the quality they presented during their lives, they were chosen either by Eve, Adam, Khidir, or Ifrit, and then granted power, including certain secret information which never shared to average humans. These facts automatically made them think that they had achieved the successes, already managed to stand on the highest level humans would ever reach, a status which separated them from the pettiness, weakness, and stupidity of humans, a godhood. Unfortunately, they had not realized that status among humans, or even status before the Muhammads who had chosen them, were very much different from their status before Allah, the All-Creator. They were indeed very powerful and sit at the highest regards among humans and dead souls. However, before Allah, they were actually lower since they were being fully controlled by the possessiveness, self-righteousness, and praise hunger. Why did they betray their parents? These favorite children of Muhammad's, in parallel, had witnessed with their own eyes how their parents treated humankind. As time flows and the deeper their involvement in Muhammad's works, questions appear in their thoughts a lot more frequently than answers. They could not understand what was the point and how exactly their parents' minds work. They did not agree to the methods employed by the four Muhammads in managing life and death. Ifrit often made the impression of hating humankind, always gave them problems that were impossible to solve. During their time being assistants to Ifrit in her researches, they sometimes could not be indifferent to the living humans who had the misfortune to catch her interest. Humans always did the same mistakes repeatedly, over and over again when they met Ifrit. They wondered if Ifrit did all those things because she enjoyed the processes, not because she wanted the best for humankind. Eve was too kind-hearted, unable to be assertive in giving punishments to her children who were in the wrong, including all humankind for that matter. They, who became helper to her researches, were unsatisfied because Eve were not willing to give heavier punishments so that the perpetrators regretted, so they afraid to redo their mistakes. They often wondered if Eve really wanted to change things for the better, or simply unable to contain her capricious nature. Adam was considered too stiff, indifferent to the nuance behind every mistake humans made in enforcing his rules. They who helped him in his researches of humankind sometimes could not accept his severity in everything that he did, and also to the emotionless approaches he employed every time, facing the dire consequences of his researches. Khidir was too enigmatic and long-winded, never giving out straight and concise answers to everything. He always answered all kinds of questions with more questions. Those who were his assistants usually became aggravated since they always worked blindly, without knowing the end game and understanding the reason why they should do everything with certain methods. They wondered, would there be end to this work, or should they watch disappointments after disappointments, witnessing the futility of humans without purpose until the end? There were thousands of reasons why the children of Muhammad chose to betray them. Each could become an interesting story and contain lessons for humans. However, if we may simplify all those contexts into one sentence, basically, the betrayers consider themselves more competent than their parents in managing everything. In the context of knowledge of virtue, these chosen dead souls who separated from Muhammad are what we call demons, the oldest generations of humans, the chosen children of Muhammad, including all their offsprings and employees who joined them in the future, who chose to disobey the rules made by the four Muhammads in managing life and death. Every time they learn of their children's defections, each Muhammad, Adam, Khidir, Ifrit, or Eve reacted differently. Sometimes with indifference and calmly continue their works, sometimes with smile and well-wishing, sometimes with wrath and punishments. On one perspective, these disobediences were new experience, part of the lessons for Muhammad, and also only one among so many problems they had to solve. On the other hand, those incidents left voids in their organizational structures. Taking lesson from the betrayals, the four Muhammads saw there was demand for personnel with absolute integrity to the rules that had been set in the management of life and death, regardless of the context that colors it. They then remembered their only sibling who stayed in the spiritual realm. Eve, Khidir, Adam and Ifrit asked Jibril to offer them solution to this problem. After several times, Jibril sent them creatures who were absolutely different from the living humans or dead souls. These creatures were very rigid, without compromise, emotionless. Their whole being were purely only to execute what has been ordered by the Almighty, or in this case the order of Jibril when sending them to physical realm, to fill the void of positions in the management of life and death, previously filled by chosen children of Muhammad who defected. These creatures are what we now call the angels. The chosen children of Adam, Eve, Khidir, and Ifrit who defected the very first time were their oldest and the most powerful. Therefore, the void left when they succeeded were crucial positions in supporting life and death. Meanwhile, the middle and lower management were filled by the other chosen children of Muhammad, who were relatively younger and weaker in power. They also had distinct reasons in choosing to stay and being loyal to one of the four Muhammads who were their supreme leader. In short, they were obedient and still believed in Ifrit, Khidir, Adam or Eve. In the context of the knowledge of goodness, or in other words, various religions and faiths developed across the world, those who chose to stay loyal are often called angels, with quotation marks. Why quotation marks? Because they were not real angels, not the creatures with absolute integrity and without compromise in doing their task. Angels with quotation marks were dead souls which had relatively higher quality than average humans according to Adam, Khidir, Eve or Ifrit. So they were given trust and responsibility to participate in managing life and death, who then chose to stay loyal even though their predecessors chose to defect. Angels with quotation marks were different from the real angels. Even though they worked for the same purpose within the context of managing life and death, they were distinctly different creatures altogether. One was soul coming from Ifrit, Khidir, Adam and Eve, while the other came from Jibril. One had already lived their lives as humans, while the other never. One had Nafsu, while the other absolutely not. The next question is, how do we differentiate them? The real angels would never want to take part to any physical matter of humans, only the spirituals. Here is the extreme example. If you are dying, really need help, but then suddenly somebody heal you as if by miracle, it is angels with quotation marks. The real angels will let you die since saving your life is not their task. Especially if in the end, letting you die will be more beneficial to the purity of your heart and soul in the long run, compared to saving you. So if you happen to meet creatures who claim to be angels but they want to help humans in affairs related to power, magic or wealth, or in other terms, the so-called guardian angels, it is certain that they are actually angels with quotation marks, or even demons who disguise themselves as angels. Be wary, since the rules of life and death between now and then are vastly different. Before, at the era of goodness, the four Muhammads and demons were in power, but now, at the end of time, Jibril takes charge. Certain consequences will come of it, regardless of who they proclaim to be, either angels with quotation marks or demons.